how did you end up meeting Ritesh and Alok?
Interestingly, Ritesh, as luck would have it, he ended up joining Helion in 2010. Then we formally started working together at Helion, and then Alok joined in 2013. All founders need to be a bit thoughtful and a bit foolish when you start something. And we were both. We had some views on, why 5 years, 10 years down the line, India will need more domestic funds, more stage-specific funds, more tech funds. When we just left, we felt that there was a lot of interest in us as a team, and within 3 months our fundraise would be over and we start investing. A lot of people met us, everybody said no, into a journey where we felt that maybe there is no light at the end of this tunnel, so we should close shop and go home. Some of the people who backed us are founders of Big Basket, Live Space, Make My Trip, Udaan, Capillary. Like, these are names, Kamal from ex-Helion days, Sandeep Singhal of Westbridge. So these are some of the folks who felt that they like us enough to invest their own money in us.
Rahul, maybe talk about investments that you guys made.
So maybe I'll talk about one which is a very well-known brand, Mamaearth.
Were there a few misses, and what did you learn from them?
A company like Swiggy, right? We had a chance, we looked at them. One of the questions was, how much of food delivery will India have? But I was not looking at the bigger picture. Focusing too much on business models and all is no meaning in my mind. So being founder first and having a better view on the founder is a lot more important when you're making up your mind on whether or not to invest.
We had Rahul Chowdhri on the podcast. Rahul is the co-founder of Stellaris Venture Partners, one of India's leading venture capital firms. Stellaris has backed some of the country's most successful startups, including Mamaearth and Whatfix. In this episode, we covered the early days of Stellaris Venture Partners, the story behind the investment in Mamaearth, why they didn't invest in Swiggy, and the key lessons they learned from it, what it will take for India to build $50 billion plus technology companies. And now I bring you Rahul.
Rahul, excited to have you on the podcast.
Same here, looking forward.
Look, I think you came back in, please correct me if I'm wrong, 2004, 5?
2005, yes.
5, and we are sitting in 2025, and you were at Helion, then you founded Stellaris Venture Partners. I think today you manage about $600 million. Journey has been unbelievable. I'm looking to unpack that, but before that, we are really a byproduct of our environment. Rahul, what really shaped you the most growing up that left a long-lasting impact on you?
So I belong to, just in terms of background, I belong to a small city at that time called Kota. Now it is a very famous town because of the education powerhouses that have come out of that particular city. But it was a typical middle class environment. And I would say it was the industrial capital of Rajasthan. So a lot of large industries are based there, which meant, just like Bhilai and other places, a lot of engineers and doctors. Nobody had like a second generation wealth. So people were coming in the society for the first time. My parents were similar. Father was an engineer, mother was a doctor. And both of them came from a very humble background. So I would say what the values they inculcated at that time, some of them being, family matters a lot. You have to move up. You have to do the hard work to succeed. You have to study. As a young kid, that was inculcated in me. So a lot of these things, value for money, those are the things that I kind of imbibed. I was joking with my wife today morning. I still have a hesitation paying, 400-500 rupees for a popcorn at PVR. I can't do that. Just because I don't feel it's worth it. So that whole notion of, everything has a value and is it worth it or not always comes to my mind when I'm taking calls and making decisions.
Post that, I think you went to IIT Kanpur, then later I think IIM, and you were working in India, I think at Microsoft or? BCG, correct. And then you ended up moving to US. What was the reason of moving to US, and what was the experience like, and what made you move back to India?
So I would say, part of this, like, I've never had a very planned journey to my career. So I was enjoying time at BCG. At the same time, I felt I was too early into consulting. I was trying to advise people who are running businesses for like multiple decades without no operating experience of my own. And I thought I should have some functional experience.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was making that choice, I thought maybe US is a very good place to be in because it is slightly more advanced as a country at that time, at least, in terms of professional environment to work, opportunities career-wise. So that was the reason I made a move, ended up joining a software company called i2 as a product manager. Those 5 years in US was an eye-opening journey for me. I would say I saw the fruit of technology and innovation. And third, risk-taking leading to outcomes. So those are the three things I really learned and enjoyed in the US. When I went there, I had no intent of being there for long term. For personal reason, parents being here, I wanted to come back. Had not thought of an exact timeline. But, around 2004, I think, there were 2 other people along with them. I thought maybe we'll start a company. I didn't understand US as much. I thought if I'm starting something, then better to do in a country that I understand more.
Yeah.
So that was the reason why the move happened in 2005.
So I think you came back and you joined Microsoft for a bit. How were the early days like? And when you came back, were there uncertainties, even cultural, or do you call it reverse cultural shock, to say it? And then later on, you were at Helion and you made some fantastic investments through Helion, and would love to dig deeper into Stellaris Venture Partners.
Sure.
What was the founding story?
So maybe I'll start with Microsoft, as in, I think in terms of moving back, it was one of the best companies to move into. At least professionally, I would say things only look better here. So it worked like an MNC, but with the mandate to grow very fast, which meant if you were willing to take initiative, you had a lot more to do than what your role required. It also took a lot of care in people moving back in terms of helping them settle down. So that part was also taken care of. On personal front, there were surprises, as in and this is 20 years back, so a lot of time there was no water in the building. You can't do anything about it. Electricity will go off. The pole is, the transformer kind of burned. What do you do then? Right? So availability of, even we had an infant baby, and availability of diapers itself was a question mark. Luckily now, 20 years later, a lot of those things are taken care of. But yeah, I think it took us about maybe 6-9 months to settle down. But once we had settled down personally, professionally, I would say is a much, much better place to be in over the last 20 years in terms of growth that this country has seen. Helion happened again, serendipity, because when I moved back, idea was to start a company. I didn't have courage to leave my job, so that company never took off. But in that process, we did end up meeting maybe 6-7 firms, and they were all venture firms that were just getting started in India. And that exposed me to what VCs are. And I kind of liked what they were doing. It looked like, your brain cells are active 24 hours a day. You meet so many new founders. You work with them on large problems. Hopefully, some of them build large companies also. So that led me on a move to venture capital, and Helion was hiring. Early days, so, again, I would say I was lucky today. I don't think they'll hire me, or they would have hired me. But that is where my venture journey started.
And how did you end up meeting Ritesh and Alok?
So interestingly, Ritesh joined venture the same month I joined Helion. He joined Chirate. So we both joined venture world together, and for about 3 odd years, we would talk to each other. Once a month, meet each other to see what can we do together. And then, as luck would have it, he ended up joining Helion in 2010. So then we formally started working together at Helion, and then Alok joined in 2013. Again, Alok and Ritesh knew each other from their INSEAD background. But started working with Alok from 2013 onwards.
Got it. And then you all knew each other and you decided, okay, let's build a firm together. How did it look like in the early days? What was kind of like, let's talk about very, very early days, Rahul, given, of course, there's, starting something of your own comes with uncertainties. Maybe talk about, maybe the pitch deck, thesis, and who was your first believer who ended up saying, okay, I'll be your LP, you go start the fund?
As all founders need to be, you have to be bit thoughtful and bit foolish when you start something. And we were both. We had some views on, why 5 years, 10 years down the line, India will need more domestic funds, more stage-specific funds, more tech funds. We felt that there was, when we just left, we felt that there was a lot of interest in us as a team. And within 3 months, our fundraise would be over and we'll start investing. A lot of people met us. Everybody said no. So again, as I said, as a founder, when you're starting, it's an humbling experience to hear so many no's. And our pitch deck was horrible. As in, I remember between three of us, Alok had a view that, this is so detailed that nobody will understand it. And I think the first set of believers also gave feedback. So pitch deck improved. But our first set of believers were founders in this country. Some of them we had backed at Helion, but several of them we had known. And when they gave their personal check, it's not as if they had a lot of liquidity, so they had a lot of, unlike, now if exits have happened, founders have a lot more money. But those were not the days where a lot of these founders had money. And they still ended up, and minimum amount I think was about 1 crore. So amounts were small for the fund size, but big for them. And they still end up committing to us. Finally, their brand names, the fact that they had backed us, mattered a lot when institutional investors started coming in. So yeah, that's what the journey was. There was a time I think around 6 months into our journey where we felt that maybe there is no light at the end of this tunnel, so we should close shop and go home. But we said, let's give ourselves 3 more months. Individuals have backed us, hopefully institutional investors will also come in. And that happened.
And as you said, that happened. But before that, if you're comfortable, feel free to name those founders that backed you. And also, what was that inflection point? You said 6 months, we couldn't see any momentum, and we were like, maybe let's just close the shop and figure out what's next. What gave you that confidence that just helped you build that momentum?
So some of the people who backed us are founders of Big Basket, LiveSpace, Make My Trip, Udaan, Capillary. These are names, Kamal from ex-Helion days, Sandeep Singhal of Westbridge. So these are some of the folks who felt that, they like us enough to invest their own money in us. In terms of, and their money was important, but as I said, amounts were small. So we had about $15-20 million of commitment. Our idea was to raise about 80-90. So it was nowhere close to that. And what we agreed at the end of that 6 months is that if we can hit at least 30 or 35, we'll at least start the fund. It may not, we may not be able to do everything we wanted to, but at least we'll get started. In terms of the big commitments post that came from SIDBI and Infosys. And I think SIDBI, as we all know, has been catalyst for a lot of new funds that got started between 2015 and 20. And kudos to government for that program that they got us started as well.
And Rahul, walk us through the journey. Over the last, I think 2017 is when you launched the fund, and now we're in 2025. What's been the thesis? What kind of check sizes you write? What kind of founders you back? Feel free to share a story or two. And how has it evolved over the years?
So I would say a lot of things have stayed same in terms of strategy. When we started, we said we'll only do one stage, which is, and we call it seed and series A, but more or less pre-product market fit stage is what we enter at. And that's what we've been doing over the last 8 years. That's what we want to do going forward as well. We also said we'll only do companies that use technology, either technology companies or tech-enabled companies. That's more or less what we're stuck with. And the third piece we said is we'll try to win India as a market, which means can we get the best founders from India? Now they may target global markets, but people who are coming out of India, are we able to get the best team out there? And so those three axes have stayed same. Check sizes have gone up because round sizes have gone up. So when we started in 2017, series were very different. Today's series are typically $10 million. And now we have the fund size to be able to write that check as well. But we are very comfortable writing an idea stage company. In fact, we were doing the math. 60% of our fund 2 companies are 2 or 3 people with a business plan. So we are very comfortable writing. And the reason for that is we believe in having a top-down thesis before making an investment. And wherever we see founders having a match with that thesis, we are very easy or very comfortable coming in, investing $2, $3, $4 million at that stage as well. So that has more or less remained same. I think few things that have changed. Clearly, the brand itself. When we started, 3 of us had brand, but there was no Stellaris brand. Today, there is a certain personality to that brand that exists. People are aware of it. They think of us maybe in the top 5-6 funds when they're starting a new company. The second is team. It was just 3 of us. We just added our 4th partner, Naman, who has been around. I think he joined the fund in 2019. So been with the fund for a long period of time. We have 2 other principals who write their own checks. So we have 6 people who can take board seats, write and sponsor a deal. Rest of the team that has come up. Then we added a strong operating team on marketing, recruitment, legal, finance, and so on. So team has expanded. And third, I would say success, as in that also matters a lot. There's a virtuous cycle. It takes some time to build a brand and equity in the market, but then there's a virtuous cycle that your success starts, bringing you new set of founders. So companies like Mamaearth, Whatfix, Propel, Kiwi, several of them that have come from the portfolio. Which has helped us build, where people are now saying, let's go and talk to Stellaris. And we're raising first round.
I was chatting with Ritesh just now. I keep doing some work with Titan, and they were talking about Zook, and Zook is on a phenomenal trajectory as well. Rahul, maybe talk about one or two investments that you guys made. How did that come about? What really convinced you to invest in those founders?
Sure. So maybe I'll talk about one which is a very well-known brand, Mamaearth. And then I'll talk about a very different consumer company called Dashtun. So 2 very on different spectrum. Mamaearth was an investment we made in 2018, where it was clear that India will see rise of online brands. One, because of not enough brands being there, and second, with the online distribution and marketing picking up, there was an option to build a brand in a very capital efficient manner. Vanur, I met more just to meet people in that space, which is beauty and personal care. He was not raising. We just met casually. What I liked was their consumer first thinking on how clear was he on what his or their ICP was and what they wanted in terms of product and the brand messaging. So we asked them whether they'll be interested in a 2-week diligence, at the end of which we give an answer. And thankfully they were, and that led to the deal happen. And we all know how the business has been. I think last year they delivered some $200 million in revenue. Hopefully FY25 should be good as well. So that was one kind of investment. Again, view on the space, really like the founder and what they were doing. They were very small scale at that time, less than 100K a month is what their revenue was. And I think they're the pioneers in that space. The other company, as I said, is Dashtun, which is a broad theme we are very interested in, which is use of AI in multiple areas, including consumer. So a lot of people talk about enterprise and software side of things, but we feel consumer is also an interesting area. And what they are doing is they're building a content platform where on the consumer side, it could be a global consumer in US or Europe and so on. But on the back end, the whole supply of that content is powered by using Gen AI, which basically means that you or me tomorrow should be able to create high quality content, either comics or videos and so on, using Gen AI. And just like today, you can be a great photographer on Instagram. Tomorrow, hopefully, you should be a great content creator on Dashtun.
And I'll take a look. And I don't want to miss out the wave. Get in as early as possible. And Rahul, I think you mentioned somewhere where Indian startup ecosystem has gone through pre-seed, seed, Series A. Now it's at Series D and beyond. Maybe let's unpack both sides of the ecosystem, which is startups, and then of course the venture capital also. Tell us, what do you see next? How are they going to evolve over the years? Where are we today and what's next?
So, see, first of all, I think we are just sheer lucky to be at this time in the journey of technology evolution as far as AI is concerned. Just like internet, mobile, cloud changed the kind of companies that got created, we strongly believe AI will do the same over the next few years. So we are all rising, and in that rising wave category, we will all should benefit. So that is one piece that I'm hoping that over the next few years, we will see successful AI first companies come out of India. That is on the startup side of the world. We are already seeing with lot of IPOs that have happened in the VC industry, VC-backed companies, and then happening this year. We're already seeing very, very high quality teams coming out and saying, if I can do it in this company, why can't I do it for my own company?
Yeah.
Right. So that is on the talent side. We are seeing very good quality talent. I think today morning I tweeted, I think last 4 weeks, I have not seen this kind of deal flow.
Yeah.
It is so hard to figure out who to spend time with. Because everybody, just from idea and pedigree point of view, looks so interesting. And I'm hoping this continues going forward. But that is one piece, I think. Capital is the other piece, which is on the venture landscape. I think India is in a very favorable spot globally from, money coming into India. Over the next 10 years, I feel a lot more money will come in from private companies' funding point of view. Today, we have more stage-specific and domestic or with India-specific or India-focused funds that have been created in let's say, micro VC, VC, Series B, Series C. At least in the next 5 years, I feel we will see a lot more Series D, Series E funds. Somebody who can write a $50, $75 million check focused on India.
Yeah.
Which essentially, basically provides enough capital for innovation to emerge from India.
Yeah.
So those are few things I think will change. Hopefully, the way the IPOs are happening, this should also continue. So we will have a lot more publicly held new age companies, which also means M&A environment will grow. Today, M&A is still done by some of the conglomerates that have been around earlier.
Yeah.
But once you start having $5 billion, $10 billion venture funded startups, those founders are even more dynamic. They want to grow even faster. And for them to spend $200, $400 million in another company will become a reality a few years from now.
Yeah. No, you're right, Rahul. We're seeing more and more repeat founders, operators starting up, or their second journey is they end up backing other founders and operators, and we'll see a lot of funds led by founders.
That is true.
Down the road, and it's an evolution that is inevitable. And Rahul, what would it take? I think right now, what the largest market cap company that we have in new age companies, which is Zomato, about 27-30 billion. What needs to be true for companies in India to get to, let's say, from 50 billion to even 100 or 200 or more?
Well, first of all, I think one axis on which this will happen is if we can dominate the global market for that particular sector. So if one can build, and it should be possible to build global companies from India. I think there are enough ambitious founders I am seeing who are thinking US first or India out first. Software, it was always there.
Yeah.
But beyond software also that is happening. I think we will also see, some more of network effect oriented companies or infra oriented companies. Those are the other two areas where you have a possibility of building a large outcome. So those are the few things. See, also it's a question of how our domestic market grows. So the economy grows, I think at about $3 or $3.5 trillion right now, in that range. If we grow at a fast pace, India market might also suffice to build a large outcome. Today, where Zomato of the world start tapping out is that food delivery itself may not be large enough now. They do quick commerce. But if single market could become large, then you have an ability to build a large outcome there as well. But to be very frank, I don't, I hope that we'll get a lot more $50 billion company, but I would want, for now, I would wish that we can create more $5-10 billion company on a consistent basis. It is still a one-off, but if we can do that, that will be a great start. I'm sure some of those founders will figure out how to take that 10 to 50. I'm sure Dipinder is thinking of that.
No, I think eventually it's more of like, one person does it and then everyone gets, inspired where Flipkart did it, and then others were like, okay, it's doable. And then let's say, hopefully Dipi does it, then others will get inspired. And Rahul, look, you've been investing for the last almost 15 years plus. What's something now you wish you knew earlier?
So, as in, see, one thing that I can tell my older or younger self would be focus even more on the founder, especially in the stage we enter at. Focusing too much on business models and all has no meaning in my mind. So being founder first and having a better view on the founder is a lot more important when you are making up your mind on whether or not to invest.
On market or TAM and all
that.
Yeah.
So I would say that is one, and it looks so obvious, but it is so easy to get caught up whenever you see a company.
Can we talk about that, Rahul? Were there a few misses, and what did you learn from them?
No,
feel free to talk about them.
Yeah, no, very true. So, a company like Swiggy, right? We had a chance, we looked at them. But again, one of the questions was how much of food delivery will India have? Similarly, a very recent example is Attenberg. I looked at them when they were, I think, raising their Series A. And I was getting caught up in, whether the BLDC motor be a technology which will be different or not. I was not looking at the bigger picture that what are these founders thinking of building? And what they are building is maybe today you can call it a new age Havels, right? It could be anything in electrical equipment is what you end up building. So I got fixated on one thing which had no meaning in hindsight.
So your learning was, and you liked the founders, both at Swiggy and Attenberg, and later on it was a hard lesson, which is, forget about other things, just back the captain behind the ship. And Rahul, in fact, I met Ritesh for the first time, and I've been following you guys for a while. A superpower that Ritesh has and Alok has.
Alok clearly is people, as in he's amazing with people. Ritesh clearly is thesis. I have never seen anybody having so much clarity on, like putting that whole structure of thinking together on what finally is. And his answers are simple, but it takes a lot of effort to come to that answer. So those are, like with Alok, I just strive to learn more about how he's with people. He's somebody who derives energy from people, and if he's in a room, he just, the room will never be quiet. There's always some interesting conversation happening. And as I said, with Ritesh, it is all about clarity of thought and how he arrives at a simple answer, but a very deep answer.
So, I was chatting with Ritesh, and I asked Ritesh, okay, a tough question that I should ask Rahul. What he said? Okay, ask Rahul around his thesis. What thesis he has these days? So let's talk about that.
As I was telling you earlier, I would like to be more founder first. So most of my thesis is,
that's the best thesis.
That can I figure out, and it is hard, that I'm backing the best founder or not.
Rahul, a change, not necessarily you would want to see, but is there a change that you would want to see in the ecosystem, and why?
This was a difficult question. As I'm thinking.
Ritesh did not tell me this.
So I would want, like I would say a lot more. One, as I was earlier mentioning, it will happen. I think it is not there. Is more later stage funds that come up to help some of our companies go beyond where they are in terms of seeking money from domestic pool of capital. The other change I would say is, I think there is one level of iteration or learning on how to capture global consumer markets from India. Right? I don't think we still have the recipe to do that, on how to build a product for global market, how to market that product. I think founders are still in that learning mode. I think once that happens, then the unlock from that $10 to $50 billion is possible.
Once they figure out that distribution.
So how do you think like that consumer? How do you market to that consumer? I think we understand the India market very well now. It's very hard for a global company to come and compete with us on some of the, the India first consumer businesses. But I wish we can do the reverse as well.
No, I think we are seeing that, those early signs. You go to YC, and there'll be a company, let's say in Middle East or in Africa. They're looking at, we're building, let's say, Ship Rocket for X, or we're building Udan or Visho or others. So it's really a matter of that, that one person does it. and then it just gives confidence to the entire ecosystem, and eventually they'll do it as well. Do you see, I have this thesis around Rahul, that, and a similar thing happened in China. Actually, many says that the entire tech ecosystem in China was built by returnees. So what that means is, I think the stats were, in 1987, only 5% Chinese students would return.
Understood.
1987, 5%. 2017, just guess the number. From 5.
If you're saying, I'm assuming 40-50% or so?
79%.
Wow.
Why? Because that phase of growth, right? Those 30 years. Alibaba, Tencent, you name it, either the founders or CTOs were basically returnees. What ended up happening, so the top companies in China, in US, they're either led by Chinese or Indians, right? So they've done those things already. They came back and they did it again. Do you see a role that Indian diasporas, where there's a lot of them, in fact, 16 Fortune 500 companies are led by Indians, 11% of unicorns in US are of Indian origins. What kind of role that would play in terms of, again, like talking about that topic, going from, let's say, 10 billion to 100 or even beyond that?
So, see, first of all, I would say there is enough talent in India to build large companies. So at least I would say, and if you look at the last 10 years, if you are, let's say, from a good college or have good thought process, you are not looking to go to US. You are actually looking to build in India. So anyways, I would say most of the class of, let's say engineers, doctors and so on are wanting to build in India. So that is the positive part, that we don't need necessarily the talent. I think where the talent will come in handy is around more cutting edge stuff. So let's say you are building, chip design company. You may not have all the talent here, or you are building a AI model, foundation model. You may not have all the talent here. So there are some places where we still don't have enough PhDs and people coming out on the research side. And if there is that skill set that is needed, definitely we should get it. And my view is that if more those people come here, then the talent density of India will anyways go up. So it will hopefully lead to better companies getting created. Those are one area. The other is, if, as I said earlier, if there are people who build consumer products for that market, if they come into India and build again a global product, that could be very interesting, because then you shorten one cycle of learning curve. For the talent out here. Having said that, as I said, I think there is, I don't think we have dearth of talent of building a $5-10 billion company in India.
I think TSMC is that company. So what Taiwan did, so the founder of TSMC, he was working at Texas Instruments. That was like the pioneer of silicon chips, and he was at the top level. So the government recruited him, asked him to come back, and that's how he founded TSMC. And today TSMC is actually valued more than the entire GDP of the country, which is crazy. Moving to the next section, Rahul. Look, again, I'll bring back Ritesh. I was having a conversation with him around the thesis of the podcast, and of course the fund around reverse brain drain. It was like a sentiment is also pretty crazy right now in the US. What advice or a message you would leave or give to Indian diasporas or Indians living abroad and thinking about India as an opportunity?
So my advice is that if you're looking for high growth environment, come back to India. I think there is no better country right now to be other than India, in all spheres of life. Your personal life, your professional life, the opportunities in professional life, your risk-reward ratio if you want to start something. I think India is an amazing country to be in, because there's so much happening, so much changing, that if you are even half decent person, you will create a good outcome for yourself. So I think professional life is amazing, and I would say eyes shut, you should come here. Personally, I think it is a it's a country that you need to be okay with, as in you need to have both positives and negatives figured out. As I said, your personal life is very nice, a lot more vibrant people around you, a lot more younger folks. Activities and things around that. Yes, infrastructure is a challenge. Sometimes getting from point A to point B can take time. So those are things that you need to be okay with. But as long as you're coming with eyes wide open, at least I would say overall, I have never regretted the decision of coming back to India, and it's been 20 years now.
Yeah. We'll double click on that. I was chatting with Naveen of InMobi, and he said it was a very interesting way to look at it. Like, look, Shiva, of course, infrastructure, air quality, roads, and all that. These things are there. I mean, these are big issues, and it's going to take some time, and eventually they'll get better. But think around the other way, how the country's GDP is going to grow from, let's say, 3 to, let's say, 10 or 15 or more. How, like, the kind of growth or opportunities that you would end up missing by looking at the other side. But you said, you don't regret a bit. How has things been changed? Like, I'm sure it must have been much easier than what it was back in, when you moved. How has things changed over the last 20 years?
I think first of all, availability of services itself, right? As in, we have the best financial, like the concept of UPI, right? Our ease of banking, or the whole financial services, I would say US is still a bit outdated out there. People when they come back, they're surprised that items come in 10 minutes out here. So that's another service, the urban company kind of service. The food option that you have, product availability, connectivity to a lot of, I would say, via airports and otherwise, to a lot of cities within India, outside India. So none of this was available when we moved in, in terms of type of schools your kids can go into, type of houses you can live in, so house help that you have. So there are a lot of things that have changed and only improved, I would say. And, I think, as I said, the fact that 50% of population is below 25 keeps the whole country young. Which is most likely not the case in US now.
In the US, you mentioned, I mean, it'll be not, if we don't cater to that, 25-year-old, the government, or not, let's not bring government, but in general, we didn't do justice for them, given, how much energy and ambition and talent they have. Rahul, in the last 20 years, and I can advocate for that. Stellaris is definitely, one of the top funds when it comes to, let's say, one of the best founders are starting up. And it's a very hard thing to do, in a sense, building a fund from scratch. And building a brand around it, because again, investing is mostly around brand. You've done amazing, and someone who's inspired by your journey, what kind of approach he or she can take, where eventually they could reach a position or a level of success that you've had in terms of venture.
So first of all, I would say we are in a good position. I don't think we are yet proven success in the sense that we only have one fund which has delivered great return. We are hoping we can do this multiple times. So having said that, I think there is still a lot to be proven on our front as well. I think a lot of that has to do with focus and believing in that focus and then repeating it again and again. So you just have to find what you want, what you really believe in. As far as, let's say, within investing, you like certain theme, you like certain stage, you like certain kind of founders. And if you believe in that, and if there is enough, let's say, data points or proof points that you are, in your mind at least, as to why it is a great area to be in, then just repeating it again and is very important. And it is hard. When in our journey, a lot of time there are always temptations to deviate. Why not do a Series B deal? Why not do something which is non-tech? Why not do a deal in Singapore? All those questions always come up, and in heady time, more of those questions come. Why are we not investing at a faster pace? Right?
Yeah.
When everybody else is.
Yeah.
So those are things that will come your way.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say less distraction, more focus is super important. And second, I would say is team. As in, I don't think any of this is possible just by being on your own.
Yeah.
A lot of that has to do with the team that you are, part of or built, and how empowered they feel. Because unfortunately or fortunately, when venture is an industry where you get proven wrong 90% of the time. So there is nobody who knows, just because you have been around long enough doesn't mean you know better than others.
Yeah.
So how do you create that diverse set of arguments around you? Keep yourself honest in some sense, right? How do you? So those are the things to take care of.
Yeah.
I think it is very hard to predict outcomes in the sense that whether you will be successful or not, it is hard for a founder, and the same is true for venture capital firm also.
Yeah.
But if you're doing some of this, then at least you're enjoying the journey, and then rest will get taken care of.
Yeah.
It is not as if everything we have achieved is because of the success or our own actions. A lot of things had to come together from environment point of view as well to make things happen. And at least I feel if you do it few times, you will find success.
Yeah. Rahul, what's the hardest part about building a fund?
As I said, how do you find people better than you? As in, that is the hardest part. I'm not suggesting that we are great, but you have to continuously have better quality team members. As I was just saying, I alone or somebody else alone can't be the best investor in this world. It is a team that creates a great investment firm. So you need, and we keep on talking about it, we need people with common values but complementary skill set. So how do you find that group who will move up the outcome one notch up than what it was before they joined? I think that is the hardest part. It takes a lot of time. We are wrong sometimes, but hopefully we've been right enough to have built the team, and that is the hardest part of building a venture.
Yeah. Finding people with the same values and different skill sets or complementary skill sets. No, I think that's very, you put it the right way. And Rahul, we'll switch gears. What are you most obsessed about outside of work these days?
So one is that, I have 2 kids. One is already in college. Second one in 2.5 years will go to college. So after the first one went, I realized that how much little time we have left with the younger one. So one is just trying to spend more time with him.
Yeah.
Second, I like playing sport. I was amazed by your story of tennis. I also play tennis, but at a very, very different level. So
you're regular at tennis?
Twice a week.
Twice a week.
So not as regular. And I think the other piece I personally feel very strongly about is health. While there are a lot of things going well, I just struggle with the quality of food we are taking, amount of sugar we are eating. This whole quick service, quick commerce has advantages, but disadvantages, we do end up eating a lot of unhealthy stuff. And finally, it is the fuel in this body or this car or this engine that will count on how long will we run.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I worry about, and at least I'm obsessed about.
Yeah. A hack you can't live your life without, whether it's personal, professional.
That's an interesting one. A hack.
Could be around your health.
Yeah, so as I said, I try to say no to sugar and fried food as much as possible. I don't know if it's a hack or not. It's how do you resist the temptation?
Yeah.
That is one piece. So yeah.
Yeah. And what's something, Rahul, that people get wrong about you? Meaning maybe misconception. Are they or not? I mean, not
no, they are
necessarily
there. I won't call it misconception. I think my challenge is I'm not as as I talked about Alok about on the people side. I'm on the other extreme. I will come across as very cold, dry person. So it is not a misconception. It is a true feeling that if I only interacted few times with that person, they will feel I'm very cold and dry. People joke about me that I have a poker face when I'm interviewing people. So it hopefully when they spend more time, they get to know me more.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is always a challenge. How do you break that ice and make them feel comfortable? That which is not very natural to my personality.
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I was going to mention that, Rahul, you're one of the fittest VC I've met in India. You are, and clearly because of you prioritize your health, hence you're fit. And Rahul, you know, it's a hypothetical question. If let's say money, attention are not needed anymore, and of course you would still be working at Stellaris, but let's say I will put Stellaris on the hold for now. What would you be working on?
So I would see. I think I would want to take a lot more bets or investment around people who are doing truly cutting edge stuff. For us as a fund, we have to also look at a commercial outcome within a certain time period. But some of those don't remain a constraint. Maybe that's an area that I like to do more than less. It's not that we don't do it, but yes, there is a 10-year outlook to the fund. If things are not looking commercially viable, it's always a question mark on whether or not to back those companies.
One last one. Dead or alive, 3 dinner guests you would want to invite, and why?
As in, most likely they are going to be some global personalities. That's okay, right? As in,
anyone. It can be anyone, Rahul. It's just you and those 3 dinner guests hanging out, having good time.
One would be Elon Musk. I don't know how he'll treat me, but but I would love to just hear him.
Yeah.
I'm amazed by the number of companies he's able to run at same point of time, and innovation out there as well. The second person would be, somebody like Dipinder. Again, how he has evolved the business every few years. It's just so amazing. Starting from a reviews platform for restaurant to this kind of a company is too good to be true, I would say. Third would be, as in Roger Federer. I like tennis, and I just feel he's somebody who plays that game just like it's come so natural to him, right? As in, there is nothing that is wrong about his game, and the flow that he has. I wish in my profession I could have that flow. I'm so doubtful about things I do, but he has no doubt. He is like
flawless.
Yeah, so amazing.
No, now we are friends. Right when you said Roger, Rahul, thank you so much, man. I'm really grateful to you for making the time and really sharing with me on the podcast your journey so far. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. See you.